It's interesting how you can read something, watch something, and feel so in tune with how much something makes sense, but you're relying on everything that you're told to be accurate and true. And, I had a friend share a video with me. It was about a 3 hour long video. And this is, getting into, I think it was called the fall of the cabal. It's the deep state. This is shedding light onto like the sex trafficking ring, how deep it goes, who's all involved. And there was a few things that I had fact checked. There was reference to like Mel Gibson making a statement. I think even Brad Pitt. There was a few of those references where I was like, they said this. And so, which, I think there's truth to I don't know if it's so much trafficking in Hollywood, but there's definitely sexual abuse that's going on with underage kids. So, I fact check a few things as I'm watching this video, and those few things checked out. So I'm just feeling really in tune. And then I got really passionate about, bringing down evil people, And it's interesting to be passionate about something. You can be passionate about something and come from a place of love. And then there's times where I can be so passionate about something that can either be fueled by like anger, for anger at the evil that's out there. Angry that someone could take a child's innocence. Angry that there's a TED Talks video of a woman trying to explain that pedophilia is a sexual orientation and that this should be understood and okay. I think that's disgusting. But again, it's like this passion that's coming out is sometimes fueled by love, and sometimes it's fueled by frustration or anger. And I'm convinced that if it's from a place of love, it'll always be right. And if it's from anger, there might be some good intentions in there, but we could probably redo whatever it is that we're doing if it's coming from anger. I just feel like that's the wrong emotion to lead with. And sometimes I do. And sometimes I feel justified. And, so I shared the video. I wrote up this long post explaining, highlighting my thoughts about the video and what's going on. And even when I think back about what I had said, there's still some truth to where I was coming from. Like, united we stand, divided we fall. And I feel like we get so divided on things that we really, I don't feel like we take the time to truly understand where each other's coming from. I think that we jump on sides of political sides. We take these religious stances, political stances, and we don't actually take the time to truly just get to know where each other's coming from. I think we would likely agree more than disagree when we really talk about, our issues with what's going on in the world. If we could come from a place of love, I think that we would have much more tolerance for our differences and to recognize that differences aren't wrong. I think sometimes it's hard to see it as not wrong, because I definitely something I'm working on. There's certain things that just seem wrong. They seem like against my principles. So it's like, if you see things differently than this, it's wrong. I think sometimes it just happens that way. I keep seeing people talk about how the left wing and the right wing are two different wings of the same bird. And I really like that, because it is. It's like we're all in the same country. We're all in the same world. And we're all living amongst each other. But we don't all have the same ideas and the same values and the same philosophies. And we didn't all grow up in the same culture and the We don't all grow up with two parents, you know. Sometimes it's one parent. Sometimes it's an abusive household. Sometimes it's a loving household. You know, we all have our differences that ultimately affects the way we look at the world. United we stand. And one other thing, you know, a friend of mine sent me this video, which I guess I could post in the link. It's about the stories of the founding fathers, 56 of them. And we tend to focus on Benjamin Franklin and Thomas Jefferson. And there's a lot of articles written that, you know, our founding fathers weren't religious. And when you actually look at all the writings from the various founding fathers, there is quite a bit of prayer, of fasting. I mean, when they got together to do the Declaration of Independence, they did a 2-hour prayer. That was the first thing that they did. They went into prayer. And then I think it was, I don't know what chapter it was, but it was something like in Psalms that they all felt like that God was speaking to them, and they were able to see something in a new light, in a new way, and it just brought everybody together. And there's, you know, Black people that were part of the founding fathers, Mexicans, kids, there was women that had input. It's like there's this story, it's like an untold story. You know, as the presenter, he'll tell you that, you know, generations before us, they were taught about the 56 different founding fathers. And nowadays we focus on 2. So I don't know. I sometimes wonder, like, how can I talk about God? And one of my best friends is atheist. I think he still identifies as atheist, maybe agnostic. But when I have these conversations openly, you know, on social media, I tend to wonder, like, how could I say this in a way? Because he's one of my best friends. You know, he loves me, and he generally values my thoughts and opinions, and as I do his. But, you know, when it comes to religion, that's just one of the things that we never really saw eye to eye on. And I guess we just respected each other's differences on that. But whenever I want to talk about God, and I feel the importance of God and love to be a part of the narrative and be a part of our lives, I mean, this country was founded on it, and it prospered for a long time. And now we're in this place of what seems to be craziness, you know. I guess some of our households seems to be peaceful and loving, and, you know, you get on social media and there's a mixture of all kinds of stuff. So I think it's important, you know, to bring God into that narrative, you know, to give gratitude for, you know, the way he's showed up in our lives. And some people will say that if he was here, we wouldn't be into these crazy times. And I tend to think that this is, you know, the crazy times and the pressure, it's always an opportunity to learn. And my buddy that I spoke with earlier tonight, who shared that video with me, he's like, Kale, you know, all the beautiful things in the world are made under pressure. I was like, that's true. Cocoons, diamonds, you know, it's all made under pressure. I don't know, I guess when we talk about God, you know, sometimes I think that if you don't believe in God, it's expected that if there was a God, that the world would be this perfect utopian idea, this concept of life. But I don't know. I mean, even with the craziness that's happening, I guess, who's to say that that's not the perfect world that we're supposed to be in? You know, I don't know what perfect is. I believe that I'm always right where I'm supposed to be. I've struggled in order to understand what I need to understand to help myself and be there for others. It seems amazing to be able to have empathy towards others and feel for where someone else might be, and have the experience in your life to understand what those feelings feel like, and be able to provide perspective. that someone may need at that time. And I think that's just sharing love. If we could just love one another. 10 minutes. All you need is love. Love is all you need. And God is love. And I don't know what my podcast is really going to always be about. Sometimes it's stories. I feel like I have stories that are funny. I have some funny sex stories. I've gotten myself into just weird situations, traveling stories. There's all kinds of stories, and I feel like my life should be told, the good, bad, and the ugly. And I feel so thankful for my sobriety right now, because it helps me to stay more stable. Not that I don't lose my shit at times, but I'm more stable in my emotions, and I'm more clear-headed about everything. And I can appreciate, the hardships that I went through to understand the importance of gratitude. I'm grateful. I'm grateful for the lessons I've learned through my hardships, is what I'm trying to say. And God has been in my life in big ways. It's amazing that I've denied God at times in my life because of how much He's been in my life. So, God bless America. God bless this world. And God bless every last heart. If I could just pray for God to touch the hearts, especially for everyone, but especially those that are feeling angry. Sometimes I feel angry at others. It's usually about myself, somewhere buried deep into that thought. And I pray for God to heal those angry hearts and just bring peace and love. It feels a lot better. God bless.